everyone. I'm excited to announce my next guest today, Gina Mancuso of Core Fitness and Legacy of Hope. Let's let Gina give us some insight on what entrepreneurship is like as a mobile gym and also as a nonprofit. Hi, Gina.
Good
Good
morning. How are
morning.
you?
Good. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Excited to chat.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too. So I figure we'll jump right in and kind of just hear about your journey. Like, tell me about what your background is. We'll start with that and how you ended up with Core Fitness first.
Sure. So I'm a physical therapist, and I started working in a rehab hospital way back when, after I graduated from school.
Yeah.
And I worked at that hospital for 17 years. And along the way, I was doing some personal training, teaching some fitness classes, just very informally.
Yeah.
And I felt a pull towards, like, maybe I could make a career out of this. And the things were completely different. The work at the rehab hospital was one side of physical therapy, and the
Totally.
work with Core Fitness was completely opposite. So one, working with people who were catastrophically injured, stroke, spinal cord injuries,
Okay.
brain
Yeah. So I was
injuries.
going to say, what
Yeah.
aspect of
Yeah.
PT?
And the fitness side of it is completely different. People who want to get in shape or stay in shape or run faster, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. And so I did both for a while. Got up at 4:30 a.m., trained a couple clients, went to work at the hospital, came home, taught some fitness classes, and eventually,
The
actually,
hustle.
yeah, and I loved my job at Moss Rehab. It was a really great career. And when I had kids, it was harder to be there. It was harder to experience other people's pain and tragedy and
Do you feel like you held
heartache.
on to it more like in
Definitely. Oh,
that
I
sense?
definitely held on to it. And I also wanted some more flexibility
Yeah.
with the kids. So it was really great. I was able to transition out of my full-time job. I went 4 days a week, then I went 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week
That's
as I was
amazing.
building
Yeah. Yeah.
the
So it
fitness
wasn't like you
business.
were like, I'm done. I'm going to start
Right.
something new.
Right.
No,
And I
you
had
had,
some security too, because as I was building the new thing,
yeah.
I still had
Yeah.
work. I still had benefits.
Yeah. Which is
So
huge.
yeah, that was huge. Yeah,
Huge.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. I feel like I see that sometimes where people are like, I quit my job and I'm gonna start, doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm always like, wow, that takes balls.
that could be scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know. I'm like, I don't know about all that.
yeah.
But no, that's so smart. And just, a nice way to ease into it
Hmm.
while still holding on to that security.
Yeah. And I also didn't want to totally give up the work that I was doing at the
Yeah.
hospital. And actually, now some of my clients, I still do get to work with that population.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I have a combination, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Hmm.
I'm sure like that like kind of holds dear to your heart a little bit. Like
It
that's
really
part of like
does.
your passion
Yeah.
behind it
Yeah.
more than just, like the health and fitness aspect, really like the genuine like rehab.
Right. Yeah.
That's wild.
That's really why I got into the field in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, you have more of a mobile business. Did you ever have like brick and mortar or space?
Yes. So when
Okay.
I first started, I shared a space with a martial arts instructor
Oh, cool.
at Sixth and Brown,
That's awesome.
and yeah, it was great.
That's like such a smart combo.
Yeah, it was really nice little spot.
Yeah.
So we were able to we didn't share a business, we just shared the space.
Yeah.
He taught his classes, I taught my classes and saw clients
Perfect.
there. Yeah, and it was great. Um, but it wasn't scalable there,
Okay.
um, and we couldn't grow there.
Okay.
Um, and so
Did you find that the space was like too small in that sense, like physical space?
the
Okay.
space was too small, and we didn't have the ability to build it out to
Okay.
make it nicer. It was an
Yeah.
old, rundown building, and in reality, all we needed was a room that
Yeah.
was, out of the elements with some heat
Yeah.
in the winter time. There was no AC, but we just needed a little space. It was
Yeah.
nothing fancy.
But I see what shows up on the art museum steps.
Right. Right. Right.
So, you have a lot more space that way.
A ton of space. Yeah, a ton of
Uh-huh.
space. And not having a brick and mortar, like, gives you the opportunity to be super flexible. It has pros and cons. a mobile fitness company with no physical location, there's not a lot of overhead.
Which is huge.
Right. But there's also not a lot of things that sometimes customers might be looking for.
Right.
Showers, for one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. True. True.
But
True.
it's a, it's a trade-off. And
Yeah.
when we decided to fully go that way, we just really looked at why does that make us different
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
do we run with that?
Well, I mean, you were definitely the trendsetter pre-COVID because once COVID hit, everyone went that way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like, how do we do this outside?
Yeah. And we were already
Yeah, you're
outside.
like,
It was
we got
great.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome. So what made you choose like the location that you kind of you're at, like with the Art Museum steps? And do you guys do other spots?
So the art museum steps are just there's full of texture. There's so much there. There's stairs, there's ramps, there's a flat surface. And not to mention it's a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's iconic. I
And
mean,
yeah,
it
I mean,
really
you can't
is.
really doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty central too. Like everyone knows where it is.
Yeah.
It's easy to get there.
Yeah.
Generally easy to park in the neighborhood. So that's our home base.
Okay.
We do occasionally go other spots, especially if there's events where, we feel like our home is being invaded by races or whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
Yeah. Concerts.
Yeah, there's
Draft
so
picks.
much room. There's so much room.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Back of the steps, Lemon Hill.
absolutely.
There's a great little bridge that crosses over the train tracks coming from
Pennsylvania.
29th. Yeah, do you know where I mean?
know
We had a
exactly what you
class on that bridge
Oh, really?
one time, which is really fun.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's probably just fine. And that's like so tucked away. So like finding all these little spots really probably keeps like your clientele interested. Like, oh, where are we going today?
Yeah, where we going today? We had a little secret location series a couple summers ago.
Oh,
where
that's awesome.
every Saturday we would be at a different
Pop up somewhere different.
Yeah.
So how does that work in terms of like just like licensing or permits or, is there if you're just doing a pop-up randomly, like do you even have to
No,
do
not
anything
with the
with that?
size of our class or
Yeah.
anything like that. Taking payments online and not on location, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Just allows us to be, we're not 150 people in a class.
Right.
If that was the case, then we might have to think about that.
Okay.
But with a smaller size group, 50 or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And then so you have a business partner with Core Fitness.
Yep, 2 business partners.
Oh, okay.
Cindy
Awesome.
Brown and Lauren Crinnis.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then like how do you guys work out your like who delegates who does what basically?
So that really evolved as we sort of learned each other's strengths
Okay.
and challenges.
Yeah.
And luckily, we each kind of shine in different areas. And that's really helpful. Lauren is terrific at marketing and PR. She has a background there, and she really is savvy and kind of
Yeah.
leads us in that direction. Yeah, it's great. Cindy is super detail oriented and is really good. We were talking about this earlier
Yeah.
with pictures
Yeah.
and setting up the details and making each person really feel important and wanted and needed, which they are, but she's
That's
super
awesome.
good at like
Yeah.
at
She has
being able to
that.
show that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so we just really evolved into our roles.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So you don't have it like spelled out anywhere, essentially.
We do have an operating agreement,
Okay.
but with really general roles spelled out there,
Okay.
but they're constantly evolving too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like as the world evolves
Yeah.
right now,
Mhm.
things get a little different and technology and more opportunities in different ways. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's nice to know that and to know that you guys are all like flexible together.
Yeah, and another nice thing is that we can just pick up for one another as like life might take us in an opposite way for a little while.
Totally.
We can jump in and help
Yeah.
each other out.
Like
Yeah.
tag you're it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, can you help me with this for a second? Because I
Yeah.
need to be at XYZ. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any like future plans for Core Fitness? Kind of sticking with the plan right now?
We're sticking with the general plan right now, although if we don't evolve, then we fizzle out. And I think that goes for any business.
Yeah.
So there's always plans in the works of like, hey, let's give this a try.
Yeah.
Let's
Totally.
go here. Let's collaborate with this group. So there's things in the background.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Yeah.
you got I mean, you're not just mobile fitness, you're online. You have an online
Right.
presence, which
Mhm.
I don't think we really touched on.
Yep.
So that's awesome. And again, that was that a COVID thing?
That was a COVID
Okay.
thing. So within a week, we were online doing virtual classes from our dining rooms and basements and
Yeah.
wherever we needed to be.
That's
And people loved it
yeah.
and stayed with it. And we talked about kind of letting it go. And all the participants are like, no.
No, if we
Yeah,
don't have to leave the house.
right. And the nice thing is there's people in New Jersey, there's people in Florida.
Yeah,
So we can
totally.
reach a lot more people, which is great.
And I feel like, too, with so many people working from home,
Hmm.
I mean, and a lot of them probably are more local, but just even not having to like leave the house to
Right.
designate that time, like, I can get a quick workout in,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
they can literally roll out of bed at 5:55,
Yeah.
put their sneakers
Right.
on, get a 45-minute workout, jump in the shower, and be ready for their
Which is
day.
incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
So now let's like scooch into legacy of
Let's
hope a
scooch.
little bit.
Yeah.
So how did that come to be?
Oh my gosh, this is a funny story. Um, so Legacy of Hope is a nonprofit that was founded here in Philly, um, that whose mission is that no patients should go hungry or homeless because of their diagnosis.
Yeah.
And so there's a guy, Mike Rao, who came to some fitness classes. So I knew him just because he was, exercising with us.
Yeah.
And one day he called and he said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something. Do you have time to meet?" Sure. So we met at OCF on Fairmount Avenue, and we laugh about this story all the time
Yeah.
because he starts talking about this thing that he's really excited about, and it's gonna be great, and we're gonna help a ton of people, and cancer and charity, and he talked nonstop for a good half an hour,
Yeah.
and then at the end of that, he said, "So, do you want to be on the board?" And I was like to myself,
No pressure.
I have no idea what the hell this guy is talking about,
Right.
but yes, I do.
You're like, sign me up.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. So that's how, he had already founded the organization. It was brand new, like the month before,
Yeah.
and he
Wow.
was building the board.
Yeah.
And it was just his passion. I mean, in all seriousness, it was his passion and enthusiasm and excitement about doing something good in Philly,
Yeah.
that really captured my
Yeah. I mean,
attention.
your cause is amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, and like just knowing how many people have been through this cancer battle
Yeah.
and just, you got to stop your life and not everyone can
Mhm.
financially afford to do that.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And what we've seen over the last 3 years um, is crazy because it's hard enough to live anyway with what's been happening, just inflation and going to the grocery store and
Yeah.
you can spend your whole paycheck and,
In a blink.
in a blink. Yeah. And add a cancer diagnosis on top of that just throws your world into a frenzy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, I know, like, personally speaking, that was my parents were divorced. My mom, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at 42 with 4
Mhm.
kids.
Mhm.
And she was a stay-at-home mom
Yeah.
that was living off of child support, from a barber that had he had his own barber shop, but it was literally like one little chair.
Right.
And just watching like the struggle, the financial struggle, the physical, the illness. It's, so like for me, like your cause hits home for me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. It's incredible to see how some people have to get by.
Yeah.
And I always tell the story because it really shows sort of what people are living with. I went to a patient's home with a bags of groceries one day, and she had a couple little kids with her, and the mom and I were chit-chatting, and I see the kids in the corner like pulling things out of the bag,
Yeah.
looking, and one little boy, he's probably 3 or 4, he comes running up. He's got a jar of peanut butter in his hand. He's like, "Mommy." His eyes were this big. He's like,
Oh,
"We got peanut
oh my
butter." And it
gosh.
was like
Right.
the
Right.
best thing that ever happened.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like that's so genuine.
It
Like
was so genuine. He was so
for a
excited.
jar of peanut butter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, is he still part of this nonprofit?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Yep.
he's like,
Yeah, yeah. He's the guy.
he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yep.
And then what does the board consist of?
The board consists of, I want to say 9 or 10 people in the Philly area from various backgrounds,
Yeah.
which is really great. Dr. Kevin Kelly, Jefferson Hospital, um, David April, who is the founder of Fishtown Beer Runners,
Okay.
Patty Simpson, who manages restaurants up in the New York City area.
Okay.
So it's a nice,
Yeah,
varied background
diverse.
of people who are passionate about the cause.
Yeah. No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It is. And now you guys are doing like family sponsorships.
Right.
How is this new, or have you guys been doing this for the holidays for a while?
So this is our second year. Last
Okay.
year was just kind of like it just sort of happened. We didn't have a plan,
Yeah.
like a lot of other things.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
found out about a couple, yeah,
evolution,
exactly.
as per our chat.
Yep. Social workers from Jefferson Hospital reached out and said, "Hey, this family's really struggling. They've got nothing.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can help them out for the holidays?" And at that same time, we had a company come to us and say, "Hey, do you guys need any help this holiday season? Is there anybody we can help out?" So we connected the two. The company bought some gifts for the family and we delivered them over the holidays, and it was really great. We had maybe a couple families last year.
Awesome.
And this year we just thought, let's really organize this
Yeah.
and make it bigger and connect a lot of families with people who want to help. So now I think we've got 10 families
Wow.
who really have nothing
Yeah.
except what they do have is hope and a desire to just keep living.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something we just all take for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we really do. And it's like when you have that insight and you can step in outside of your own little world, little bubble, little safe
Yeah.
environment, and you look in someone else's life and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And some people, I don't know, they might be able to like ignore that, right?
Yeah.
Clearly you can't. You're not cut from that cloth.
No.
I mean, and just by your whole career and what you've done with it and, these projects that you get involved in, it's amazing. So it's awesome. So with Legacy of Hope, who like does like marketing and stuff for that?
Oh my gosh. So that is really like take it as it comes. Mike and I really just work as a team.
Yeah.
And depending on what's on our plate and who's doing what, because we both have other jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
We, who's ever has the time or the expertise. I mean, he shines in a lot of areas that I don't. There's some things where I can step in where he might not be the best. So we don't have really specific spelled out roles.
Yeah.
We sort of know what each person is good at.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we're surrounded by a lot of 2 other staff members and a lot of volunteers who step in, who we can call on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Brian Lathrop is kind of our PR marketing guy who helps us with, he's an awesome photographer and a really excellent writer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. He's great.
To have somebody like that on your side is awesome, because it's hard. And especially if he like is involved in the project itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It like, I don't know. I feel like it's just, you feel that when you're reading something that somebody that's
he gets
truly,
into it.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, he really does. And yeah, he's priceless to have on board. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess my infamous last question I'm going to go to is,
do it.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self at this point in your
gosh.
career, at this point in your life?
What would I tell my 20-year-old self?
We were like, in this day and age, we're filled with a world of like, entrepreneurs or entrepreneur wannabes that look at success and they look like it was sprinkled upon someone and they don't realize.
I think 2 things. I think the most important thing is find out what tugs at your heart and go after that. And sometimes the finding out is the hard part. You're not really sure when you're that age.
Yeah.
But try a lot of things. Talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like go get some experiences.
And I feel like I really, really wish that our education system honestly was designed to like present what these careers are like,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
more than just a bring your kid to work day. Like,
Right.
actually,
Like, what does it really
what
mean
does
to
it
do
actually mean to have
this?
a day in the life of just to have
Yeah.
that full insight?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, it's a sin because so many kids, they come out of college and, they just made their most expensive investment of their life, or their parents did, or they're
Mm-hmm.
going to have loans to pay back
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Ever.
And based on nothing,
Yeah.
based on like, oh, I guess I should do that, or someone
Right.
said I should do that, or I should
Right.
major in this. And
Right. And there's no timeline for it.
yeah,
But if you don't put the effort in to try to understand what's meaningful for
yeah,
you, like what really touches you, then you do just kind of follow
yeah.
the pack and
Well, and then it doesn't feel as much like work.
right.
I think
Uh-huh.
everyone's afraid of like putting in the work.
Yeah.
But if it's something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like something that you're working on.
There's some this sounds dumb, but I'll say it anyway.
Say it anyway.
There's some weekends when I'm like, I can't wait until Monday because there's a lot of stuff I want to do and people I want to call and things I want to get going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hurry up Monday morning.
I
Like, let's get there.
I so get that.
Yeah.
Except for, I guess, in my business,
It's
it's
different.
it's
Right. Yeah.
different, and there's just different projects, and
Yeah.
so
But you understand that. You're the same way.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Like, give
I
me
usually
something to do.
I'll like send a text or an email, and I'll be like, "Sorry, this is so late," or "Sorry, this is so early."
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to forget it's on my mind right now.
Right. You can text me whenever, by the way.
Okay, thanks. I'm like, I will take you up on
Please
that.
do. Yeah.
You don't feel the need to answer right away.
Right. I'm just going to send this. So you let it sit there, but now it's out of my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm
Thank you
so
for
glad you
having me.
came on. I'm so glad we talked about this. And
Me too.
I mean, literally, you guys have such great businesses, organizations, and just to know you as a person and know like what's behind that and how genuine it is.
Yeah.
I applaud you.
Well,
I love you, girl.
I appreciate you. Well, I want to say one more thing. I appreciate you and Salome's jumping on board for our Operation Santa project
Oh, God, I'm happy
and
to.
helping out with the family
Yeah.
who is really going to be excited about being involved. So thank you.
Yeah,
And
of
thank you for
course.
just being such an active and genuinely like authentic person in our business communities. Really.
I try. I do try.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for community to like, build on each other
Yeah.
and help each other out. And it's
Definitely.
not just for business, like it's for community,
Yeah, it's just for life. It just feels
for
better.
life. It
Yeah,
does.
it just
It
feels better.
does.
Yeah. So
Thanks,
thank you.
Mama.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.